It's been a while coming, guys, but this is a Q&A video where I'm going to answer your questions and talk about some other stuff. Alright, before I launch into the questions, and I do apologise for the background noise, guys. You can probably hear the birds, maybe a little bit of road noise as well, but I am at a local park to film this video. Before I do answer the questions, I just got a huge thank you to everybody who has pushed that little subscribe button here on the channel, because the channel is now past 4,000 subscribers, which makes me feel really grateful, also very humble that you take the time to watch, comment and like these videos. It really does mean a lot to me. Not sure if you can see it, guys, but I've got some magpies that have come in and to keep me company. Somebody must come here and feed them. Alright, I need to put my glasses on to read these questions. Okay, first question is from Malcolm. I remember when you had plantar fasciitis, what exact things did you do? Malcolm, maintenance, maintenance, maintenance. It's all about stretching, foam rolling, massage gun, really paying attention to those lower legs, the calves, also using a golf ball or something underneath your foot and just rolling it backwards and forwards. I have had plantar fasciitis for a number of years, and it ranges from nothing at all up to, I won't say painful, but certainly uncomfortable. And I know that if I don't keep up my maintenance, then it does flare up. Now, I've had some dry needling in the foot area, which has really helped. That is uncomfortable. And I've also done some barefoot running on grass. That really helps to strengthen the foot. I don't do it all the time, and I don't do great distances either. This question from I'm not sure. What type of sunscreen do I use? I don't have a specific brand, but I make sure that I'm using sunblock with that SPF of at least 50 plus. I've had some skin cancers cut out on the side of my face. I need to be extra careful and make sure that I'm well protected out in the sun, especially here in Queensland where the summers are really harsh. I actually think that Queensland has got one of the highest rates of melanomas in the world. Can never be too careful when it comes to sun protection. And just a little bit more to that, Mark, who had a close call with skin cancer, asked why I run so much with no protection on my upper body in the middle of that blazing sun. Yes, I did run shirtless a hell of a lot during the last summer here in Brisbane, because I just did really suffer with the heat. Look, when I do run shirtless, I'm covered in sunscreen, and I also try to run in shaded areas. Look, I'm not going to be in the shade 100% of the time, but I'm trying to take as much precaution as I can. This one from another Mark, who was asking about my tempo effort in a recent video and what in pace intensity I'm trying to run at, and have I considered progressive intervals or runs. Definitely have done progressive intervals or runs in the past. I think I did a long run progressive here on the channel. It was in a video probably a couple of months ago now. When it comes to what intensity I'm sort of looking at to hit in those tempo runs, at the moment probably around about 4 minutes 30 per kilometre. Obviously when I was in sub 3 marathon shape it was a lot quicker, but at the moment that's about where I'm at. I took part in the Run Army Brisbane Fun Run a few days ago. There won't be a race review vlog, guys. I hurt my back a few days before. I was out in the garden shoveling some mulch, and I just twisted the wrong way and bang! Just tightened up in the back almost immediately. And even on race day I was still 50-50 whether I'd take part, but it felt reasonable. So I thought that I would line up and just take it nice and easy. I got it done about 49:30 for the 10k, and while there was no issues with the back, my glutes and hammies, oh, they just felt so fatigued, really were aching through the run. So it just shows that, you know, the back wasn't 100%, and I'm glad I did decide to just take it easy, because I had initially planned to try and run sub 45. I decided that it just wasn't worth the risk, and I'm glad I did. I did make a video, it's up on the channel, just with some background music, because I didn't really talk a lot during the run. But 6,500 runners, great event, getting bigger every year, and huge thank you to organisers and all the volunteers out there on course. This one from Jonathan. You haven't mentioned your knee problems for a while. I think you had a cartilage issue after the Tarawera 100k, and it looked like you might struggle to get back to 5k. Be curious to hear how you managed it. Well, Jonathan, it's very similar to Malcolm's question earlier on about plantar fasciitis. Maintenance, maintenance, maintenance. I've said here many times on the channel that I don't have a lot of cartilage left in my knee. That knee joint, that fat pad, it's worn almost completely out, so I do have bone on bone action going in that knee joint. That does cause a little bit of discomfort from time to time, but I find that if I stay on top of the maintenance, the foam rolling, the massage gun, the stretching, especially around the quads and the glutes and the hamstrings and the calves, it does help a little bit. Another thing that I did find when the knee did flare up late last year, I got back on the grass, took the shoes off and did some barefoot running. After a few weeks, the knee discomfort almost disappeared. I've put that down to running on the grass. I'm very mindful to gradually increase distances when I am running barefoot on the grass, because it does take a little bit of time to get used to. But again, it's maintenance. I've got to be on top of the maintenance. If I'm not on top of the maintenance, then that's when the knees do start to get a little bit sore. I've got my next event coming up later this week, the half marathon at the Gold Coast Running Festival. The back is feeling a lot better, still not 100%, so I'm going to treat that half marathon nice and easy. Just going to use it as a long run, take the GoPro, do a bit more filming. Just want to get this back right. So today I was supposed to do the speed group session, but wasn't going to risk it with the way the back's feeling. So I'm just out today now, having a nice little plod, 11k, just make up the distance. You taking part in the Gold Coast Running Festival this week? Let me know what distance you're doing, and make sure you come up and say hello if you see me down there on the Gold Coast. This is a MAF question from Jaya Kumar. I'm a beginner and have been running to MAF for a month. Could you please guide on how to run under MAF heart rate? My heart rate goes beyond MAF heart rate even if I take 50 steps. This is a question that pops up all the time with MAF, and because you've only been running for a month, I would just say be patient, be consistent, slow down to keep that heart rate down. I've said this here on the channel before, and I feel that as a beginner runner, MAF is not the most ideal method to use. Look, for me, I used it extensively here when I first started the channel because I was coming back from a long-term injury, but I was an experienced runner. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to run too fast too soon in that return from injury, so sticking to running to heart rate was the perfect scenario for me. But for new runners, you've taken up running to run. Having that restriction of running to heart rate sort of defeats the purpose a little bit, because if you haven't run, then it's only natural that your heart rate is going to be quite elevated as soon as you do start to run, because it's something that you're not used to. My suggestion to you, Jaya, would be to go out, just run very, very easily. Take regular walk breaks. Maybe you should look at a catch to 5k program rather than running to MAF in the early stages. Then maybe after a few months of running, you can go back and look at the MAF method, and you may have some more success. But if you want to continue with the MAF method now, slow down, patience and consistency, and over time you will see some beneficial results. This one from Brett. What brand is your running hat? Well, this one that I think I am wearing is the Bocco. I do run a lot in the 2XU hats, and I think I've also got a Salomon hat as well. I'm not particularly fussy what hats that I do run in, but those hats that I do have seem to work quite well for me. Mark on Instagram wants to know what brand of Sunnies I use when I'm running. I've been running using the Goodar sunglasses for a number of years now. Great lenses, solid frame, and most importantly, they don't slip on my face. You never have to worry about them slipping down my nose, having to push them back up. Just a good all-round pair of sunglasses. I also use them when I'm driving, or wherever I'm out and about as well. Ewan wants to know if I'm going to make a video about the parkrun changes. Short answer to that, Ewan, no. Look, it's been well documented that Parkrun HQ have made quite a few changes by taking away the all-time records and age group records earlier in the year, all surrounding the transgender issue, which they didn't actually come out and say. I think they handled it quite poorly. If they got on the front foot and said, look, this is the issue we have, this is what we've spoken about, this is what we're going to do, I think people would have been probably a little bit more receptive to the idea. But just tiptoeing around the issue, saying we wanted to make parkrun inclusive. Well, look, parkrun's already inclusive enough, isn't it? It's free, anyone can turn up, doesn't matter what pace, whatever. But look, I understand why parkrun have done it. I feel that everybody has a right to privacy. Taking the records off the websites is not an issue that really I feel strongly about. I understand why they've done it, and look, it's not something that I have looked at in my 10 plus years of running at parkrun all that much. I know a lot of people do take a lot of notice of those records and so forth, but for me it's just not an issue that I felt strongly enough to make a video about. And while we're talking about parkrun, there's more changes from HQ where they've done away with the alphabet challenge to deter parkrunners from travel to other events over fears that it creates tourism that damages the environment. This is a bit like trying to shut the gate after the horse has bolted. This is one of the main attractions of parkrun. Yeah, it's free, it's timed 5K each Saturday, but it gives you the opportunity to travel around and go to other parkruns in your local area, in your city, where you live, interstate, internationally. I don't know how many parkruns there are around the world at the moment, but I think a lot of people enjoy doing that. You've also got to look at the benefits to local businesses as well, and the traffic that they get on Saturday mornings after parkrun. People going to have coffee or breakfast at cafes, coffee outlets, etc. I understand why Parkrun HQ have done this. We all need to be mindful about climate change and the effects that we do have on the environment, but taking away the alphabet challenge, in my opinion, is not going to stop people from visiting other parkruns. A few months ago I put on Instagram that I was doing a shoe audit because I was completely monopolising our shoe cabinet, and Trish had nowhere to put her shoes, and she said, when are you going to get rid of some of these shoes? Anyway, it took me several months to get all the shoes together, go through them and cull a few. A lot of the shoe cull ended up going to charity stores. Even though I had used them quite extensively, they would still be good enough for other people to use. And there was even some shoes that I had run in that I just didn't like, and were sent away to charity stores as well. I think overall about 50% of the shoes I kept. Probably still got too many. I think I've got about 15 or 16 pairs of shoes still, and they range from the ones that I use all the time down to, yeah, I might just hang on to those because I might use them at some stage. It did open up a little bit of space in the shoe cabinet for Trish, so that kept her happy. Finally, guys, a couple of questions here, very similar from David. I'm keen to know what your all-time PBs over 1500, 3K, 5K, 10K, half and full marathons are. I've had to write these down, guys, so I remember. As a teenager, I ran 1500 in 4 minutes flat, 3K in 9 minutes, 5K in 16 minutes. 10K sub 35, not sure on the exact time there. Half marathon was a little bit later in life, 82:49 at the Gold Coast Half Marathon, I think back in 2013, and the marathon 2:56:06 at the 2017 Gold Coast Marathon. And the other question, which came from John, you mentioned you hit 5-year bests in 5K, 10K and half marathon before the sub 3 marathon. That would be the Melbourne Marathon in 2022. What times did you hit? 5K, 18:19, 10K, 39:08, and the half marathon was an 84:57. All right, guys, that's your questions. Thanks very much for sending those questions through and giving me an opportunity to answer them. Keep the questions coming too, guys, because I will do some more Q&A videos here on the channel, maybe in a few months' time when I do build up some more questions. But do really appreciate everybody who did take the time to put those questions together. That's it for this video. Really do appreciate it if you've made it all the way through to this point in the video. Yeah, wherever you are, run well, run safe, be kind to each other, and I will catch you in the next video. Take care. Beru.